Tainted by Matthew James. The lights began to flicker moments after the break of dusk. Jacob walked through the aisles of the grocery outlet in this small Massachusetts harbor. The first snowstorm of the season had ceased its descent. It had come sooner than expected. The electrical problem ended in darkness instead of light. His eyes adjusted as an illuminant glow reflected through the storefront windows. The moonlit frost blanketed the street. Few people had ventured out into the storm. There were more employees than customers in JoJo Marts. There couldn't have been more than 10 people. Jacob didn't have any food in his small apartment, and with a small budget, he planned to purchase enough for a meal and a snack each day next week. The generator kicked on, dimly lighting every third overhead. Jacob made his way to the deli for lunch meat. There was a man arguing with the deli attendant. Their conversation must have escalated from the news of sightings. "The aliens contaminated our food supply, and you know it, you goddamn traitor!" The man was obviously suffering from deranged paranoia. "If you don't give me a prime sample of their toxins for a scientific examination, I'm going to get my people outside here, and we're going to trash the whole store." The deli attendant tried to calm the man, but couldn't. The lunatic pulled the rack below the deli's glass divider out of its socket, dropping nearly 100 containers of macaroni salad, potato salad, coleslaw, and such. Then he stormed towards the front of the building. The attendant started moving behind the glass in a delusional rush. He took a chunk of ham and sliced it up, bagging the meat. He then got on the intercom and called for someone named June. Jacob stepped to the glass. "Excuse me," he said. The attendant was startled. "You're not with that nut, are you?" "Huh?" Jacob said. "I just need some ham." He looked towards the front of the store. "I'll tell you what. There's a man with a truck outside waiting for a delivery. If you take these 10 bags out to him, your entire purchase will be free as long as you don't go overboard." He came close to the glass and in a low voice continued, "Just tell the cashier that you are delivering for EyeCJuiceMoney. That's the name of the company that placed the order." Jacob was surprised and delighted. He was a starving artist. Money was hard to come by. "Do you mind if I pick up a few more snacks?" "As long as your total purchase is less than $50, I don't think there will be a problem." Jacob had only intended to spend $40. He walked down the aisle to pick up some chips and pretzels. Before he could pick out which brand he wanted, the attendant called him. "Hey, just grab something and come get the order. I just got a call and our customer needs to leave right now." Jacob grabbed a few different flavors and complied. He took the 10 bags of ham. They were bunched together in one large, dark package. His meat was set aside from the rest. He put them in a basket and walked to the front of the store. The crazy man from before walked past him as he rounded the corner. He had indeed gotten back up. 2 husky men with dark mustaches. One of them had a beard. At the checkout counter he got some candy, a privilege that he could rarely afford. The cashier hurriedly waved him into the checkout. "Do you have the word?" Jacob placed the contents of his basket on the counter. "Oh, yeah, this order is for EyeCJuiceMoney. I think they're called." The guy back there said, "Yeah, don't worry about the money." She quickly bagged up the food. She pointed at the special order. "There's a truck waiting across the street." Jacob looked outside and saw the white truck. Outside, in the cold, Jacob was startled by 3 loud bangs from inside and slipped on a flat of ice, dropping the bags. The bag with the delivery split open and clear packs of meat slid out. Jacob emptied the contents of the bag that was the least full into the others and put the special order in it. He didn't take notice until the last one that the meat inside shimmered an odd rainbow of colors. Jacob didn't know why, but he was tempted to taste this meat. He took out a slice and took a few bites. The ham, or so it was labeled, tasted like slick turkey meat. Jacob sealed the package. Across the street, the driver's hand impatiently rapped against the open window frame of the truck. What Jacob could see of his face was blank of expression. The driver turned his head towards Jacob. He had piercing dark eyes. Jacob hurried forward. As Jacob handed the man the bag, their hands brushed together. An odd shock of human energy rushed through him. Feeling as though the driver was keeping a great secret, Jacob yearned to know what sense could be made out of such oddity. The answer? He felt this like a question from the driver, but not with words. Jacob submitted to his own curiosity and felt that he wanted to know. Looking at the man's face, it became disfigured as Jacob's eyes fell out of focus. Once his eyes refocused, he saw rough, gray, wrinkly skin, thin at the low of the face and wide at the high, and eyes large and fully dark. Jacob was afraid of the being, but beheld the sight with reverence. He somehow knew, though frightened, that this mysterious man meant him no harm. He felt a spark in his hand. Looking at it, he noticed that it had just parted from that of the driver, and the driver, looking at him again, he was human. He wondered what could cause such a hallucination. He also wondered why he didn't notice that he had kept his right hand against that of this man. The man must have thought him queer. The driver nodded. Then he changed gears and began to drive down the icy road. Jacob stood motionless until a stark cry of accusation was directed at him. "Traitor!" It was the voice of the deranged man. "Come on, guys! It's either that or he's one of them!" Jacob turned to see all three barbarians rapidly approaching him. Inside the store there were no lights, though the grocery was scheduled to stay open for another hour. Jacob suddenly realized that he had made what these strangers must have known to be an unforgivable assist. These loafs looked dangerous. The bearded man grabbed him by the arm while another stuck a small red box into his shoulder. Jacob felt a pinch of a needle. "He's human," he said. "Do you know what you just did?" asked their leader, the first man, the one he had seen by the deli. "You just helped them hide the evidence." Jacob remembered that he had eaten some of the product. "Whatever it was in that bag, it wasn't bad. I took a few bites." "Then they have you brainwashed too." The bearded man began to drag him towards the pier. "No, it's not like that. That's just what they need to eat." Jacob had no idea why he made this assumption. That out-of-this-world face had sprung into his head. Once they had Jacob out on the dock, they began kicking him where he lay. Jacob eventually stopped resisting, hoping they would stop. It worked. Though thinking they had him unconscious, they heaved his body into the icy water. "They're trying to kill me," Jacob thought just before his body was shocked by the submersion. Despite the temptation to thrash out onto the surface, he stayed underwater for as long as he could. He felt the current carry him away from the dock. When he surfaced 20 seconds later, he saw them in the distance looking near the dock. They wouldn't see him this far out into the darkness of the bay. It would have taken too much energy to swim against the current to the closest landmass. Jacob feared that he would die in these waters. Then a horn blew, and he saw a light atop a steamer coming toward him. He swam to it and grabbed hold of a heavy rope that lay draped aside the boat. The sailors must have seen him in the water because they pulled him aboard. Before falling unconscious, Jacob heard a rambling of words in a foreign language, ending with a few particular words that turned the chill upon his flesh into the numb buckling of darkness. "I see. Today's patron for Ni Ek Nakan."